Animals like drinking! We're drinking. Cheers. One more. Hear that song? Pretty good for the oil. Only variation. Fit your lifestyle.
Happy Valentine's.
Hey everyone, it's John Orlando from the PVD Cast, and I wanted to take a few moments of your time to let you know where you can find the PVD Cast. The online home of yours truly, PVDcast.com, is a great place to go, but it's also available through all the major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, etc. There's also live broadcasts of the PVD Cast every single week. Mondays 8 p.m. Eastern through the Facebook page of the PVD Cast, and Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. through the Scene Snobs Facebook page. And no matter how you listen, please make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. And with that, I will chat at each and every one of you later.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Scene Snobs Network. But I'm not here to talk to you about the Scene Snobs. I'm here to talk to you about Max and Jason, Three Geeks Podcast. You will probably tune into the Three Geeks Podcast and be like, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, there's obviously more than 3. There's like 89 million of us. We
started
are
with 3.
We're like gremlins. We just keep multiplying.
Yeah, they fed us at midnight. They poured some water on us. And now it's like 78 geeks. But you can be a geek too.
If you like comedy, which we sometimes do, if you like hearing about movies, TV shows, you like hearing hot takes from Max and John, you like hearing somebody who loves most things, but when I get mad about a show, it's pretty entertaining, I gotta say. But no, we're the Three Geeks Podcast. We're just a group of friends that don't talk to each other through the week so we can have natural conversations on Sunday.
Yep.
We're like actually probably the worst group of friends because we don't ever talk to each other outside of doing podcasts. I mean, except for you and I, but that's because we're roommates. But, like Three Geeks Podcast. Tune in, check us out.
And have fun.
Yes.
Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. And recycle your droids.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan, and I'm here to tell you guys about thescenesnobs.com. We're a channel of variety, comedy, entertainment, geek-related, sports, the whole 9 yards. We cover almost every genre. And we have so many great shows to choose from. We have shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast, BTB Podcast, The Guapo Show, the Sports Snobs Podcast, the PVD Cast, Jeff Dwoskin presents Crossing the Streams, the Three Geeks Podcast, the Fandom Effect. We probably have the only Matlock-based podcast called Matt Talk, and we're introducing new shows all the time. We have new shows coming up like the Ear Hustling Podcast, Carpool Shenanigans, and of course, From Some Nobodies, Twitching Upstream, and Talking Upstream. So come on, check out thescenesnobs.com, enjoy it, and please leave feedback. Like, follow, subscribe us, and just let us know what you think. We love to have all the interaction. So I, again, am the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan. Check out thescenesnobs.com. You can follow us anywhere on social media at The Scene Snob. And we will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Hey everybody, it's CJ Graham, Jason Voorhees. That's right, Friday the 13th, Part 6. And you're listening to thescenesnobs.com.
I'm going to eat dinner. I'm going to do this. And then he decided,
Yeah.
all right.
He's a very smart boy.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another interview with Jason and Mick. We are joined by Paul Taylor. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm very well. Weird times, and I am grateful, and I'm luckier than many. So I only ever say I'm good. I'm fine, despite the pandemic. So yeah, happy. I'm happy. Actually, I just bought a new car. I mean, don't hate me. New to me.
Love it.
You've got a lot of stuff coming out in the next 2 years. You're either in post-production, completed, filming, or pre-production. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. It's been, things were really chugging along till 2020 kind of went, but I still worked on a couple things. Like I was on a film set for something called Enslaved by Ducks, a comedy that Patricia, the mom on Everybody Loves Raymond, she's one of the producers, so she's my new best friend. But anyway, I had my time on the set, and then the next week they were closed down because of COVID, and that was in last March, and then also played the lead thoracic surgeon in a film called Reagan, about Ronald Reagan. No comment. But he 2 days after I got off that set, this is not what you asked, but this is what I'm talking about. 2 days after I got off that set, one of the producers called me and said, Paul, unfortunately, even though we took all of the precautions, because this was like, I don't know, May, June, July, August, it was, things were not good with COVID. So, but they took all the SAG precautions and stuff, everyone getting tested every other day and blah. He calls me and he says, unfortunately, on the day that you worked, which is 2 days before that, the director tested positive for COVID. It turned out 19 people tested positive. So I dodged that bullet, man. But yeah, I was busy. And then also I shot a thing I'm sure you've heard of called Butcher's Bluff, which is a horror film. And it's going to be really fun. William Instone wrote and he directed it. Did he write it? I don't remember right now. But he also plays the Hogman, which is like a new 80s. It's like a throwback 80s slasher film. I'm playing a Texas sheriff, which is new for me. And, I don't play a lot of I won't say he's a redneck because I'm not really believable as a redneck much, but sort of that, just sort of that flavor of Texas sheriff, and that was kind of fun. And that was during 2020 as well. So that stuff, those three things happened during the pandemic, and then there was some stuff I worked on before that hasn't yet come out yet because of COVID. So there have been some other things too. My proudest work is for a drama called Whitetail, which is strictly a drama. It's the largest role I've ever had, and it's a thriller drama, family, emotional. it's a roller coaster, but there's a lot, and it gets really gritty and gruesome at the end. I mean, there's some murders and stuff, and really excited about that. It's probably going to be released in drive-ins first, although I've seen it at a drive-in, and I didn't think it really worked at the drive-in, but they're going to do that just because they want to get it out there, you know. They want to do festivals. You know, I can't keep up with release dates and stuff, but yeah, I've been really lucky. I've been busy, and I've had a lot of auditions lately because, you know, I'm in Texas, which is of course just south of Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has it going on. They have a lot of films going on because the governor, they have excellent filmmaker tax rebates in program in their state. That's where I shot Hellraiser Judgment. I mean, of all places. So yeah, I'm glad I'm close to Oklahoma, and I never thought I'd, you know, be that thrilled about being close to Oklahoma, but there are reasons. Yeah.
I got to take you back though, because I'm still caught up on Enslaved by Ducks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What is this film about, and how does one become enslaved by ducks?
Well, it's based on a book, a comedy book. I guess I haven't actually read it. I only had one day on the set playing it. A great little guy. I mean, funny little character. But it's about a couple who, I don't remember exactly what happens, but it's a true story. And they buy an animal farm. They buy a duck farm. They buy some sort of farm. I don't know. It's based on a book, and I auditioned for a role, and I got it, and I played the role. You know, the thing I'm most excited about was that I got to meet. Why can't I think of her name? Oh my god, Patricia, who played the mom on.
Keaton, right? Is it Keaton?
Heaton, thank you. Of course it is Patricia Heaton. So she loved me, and she's like, "So do you ever get out to LA?" I'm like, "Well, I'd like a reason to. So yeah, I'm gonna come out there." I would have already been out there now if what was going on wasn't going on. But right now it seems pretty silly. So I plan to spend some serious time out there once it's safe to travel. You know,
I met you once at what's the name of the con? Horror Hound in Cincinnati.
Oh, that was a great one. That was fun. I was right next to Michael, the Hills Have Eyes.
Michael Berryman.
Thank you, Berryman. Yeah, and the guy who bought the costume, James Azil, who is with the horror, what's it called? Horror Props and Paraphernalia Collectors Association. I don't know. He sent me his book because I'm in it now. So he bought my Pinhead costume. So he had it there on display, and we did a little photo op where I wore it with a Fozzie hat, you know, Fozzie from the Muppets, because it just seemed appropriate somehow.
Yeah, the Horror Hounds are my favorite cons to go to.
Oh, it was great. It was fun. Cincinnati, it was nice, and they took lovely care of me and stuff. You know, that was a few years ago, huh? That was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, probably 3, maybe 2.
Yeah. Was that all? I don't know. Time flies when you're not doing anything.
Well, Paul, how does it feel? I mean, you stepped right into like an iconic character like that. I'm sure you get this question a lot, but like, what were some things? Have you talked to Doug Bradley when you stepped in, and like, you know, kind of, you know, I know as an actor, you know, you make the character yourself, but like, did he give you any advice when you stepped in or anything like that?
No, by the time I'd already shot the film when I met him, and I didn't talk to him before. It was not comfortable. It was not a comfortable setting I came into, and only because Gary Tunnicliffe and Doug Bradley were not exactly besties when I got the part. Mm-hmm. And because Gary had originally written the role for Doug. He wanted it to be Doug's last Hellraiser film. He wanted to direct him in it. Maybe he actually wanted to play the auditor, but he says he came up with that idea later, so I don't know. But he did play the auditor. He ended up playing it. So when some things led to Doug rejecting the role before he read the script, and then there was some crap online, and they were just like, oh, this, as if it were like this huge bitter feud. I don't know exactly what it was. It was just like they weren't great friends. So of course I had to get past that. And your question, there's a lot to it, because what it felt like was freaking amazing to get the part. Because Pinhead has always been my favorite 80s horror icon. I mean, ever since the 87 when I saw it. Where did I see it? In Wichita, Kansas, I'm sure, somewhere in Kansas. Yeah, because I was still in. No, maybe I was in Dallas. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Who cares? I saw it in a theater. And, like many people, Pinhead appears and it's just like, whoa, what is that? That's freaking up. There he is. There's Doug. That was great. This picture you're showing right now, this was a wonderful thing. All this stuff had been reconciled by the time that picture was taken. Gary and Doug had pretty much gone, you know what, do your thing, and you do your thing, and I'm sorry, and I don't know who said actually I'm sorry, but anyway, everything was fine. A few weeks before that picture was taken, which was, of course, at Texas Frightmare, Doug's partner called me. No, she texted me, and she said, look, we're going to be at the same convention, and it would be really great if we could just put anything behind us that has transpired before. If you have any ill feelings, if Doug has, and we didn't. Neither one of us had a problem with each other. We were Pinhead and Pinhead, but I did. But at the same time, it is kind of Doug's turf. I mean, it's his role. But that night, or maybe the next day, we had. I Skyped with her, and we talked for like an hour and a half. She's an artist. They live together. And then Doug came upstairs from the basement, or maybe he came downstairs I don't know. Anyway, he came from another floor to say hello to me, and we chatted for a little while, and it was like lovely. And then this was the 30th anniversary of the original Hellraiser. So that's why Doug and Clive Barker and 3 of the original Cenobites were at Texas Frightmare that year. And that's probably also why I was there as well, because a new Pinhead, whatever you want to say, there's a difference. But so I went to a screening of Hellraiser because I knew that they were going to be there. And so I met them the night before the con started, and they had a Q&A before the movie, because they have the Q&A and then they leave. They've seen the movie enough. So I'm there, and I'm sitting. We've already met in the bar, because I was there with my friend, and when they came in, and it was like, oh my God, we got a table for a short time, and then we chatted a bit, and then God, I love Barbie Wild. She's wild. She was she was Deep Throat, the second female Cenobite. She is a hoot. So they're all a hoot, actually, all of them. But so they have a Q&A, then they ask for Q. So I raised my hand and I asked a question. I didn't ask, I just raised my hand. And I asked my question, and it was about what Doug's favorite play was. If someone was going to, because he and Clive Barker were, they were mates. They met in grade school, I believe, but they were friends for years and years and years and years and years. Obviously that led to some good things. So they had a theater company, and Clive wrote the plays, and Doug was in most of them, and maybe all of them. And I said, what if someone were going to produce a Clive Barker play? What would be the one that you would? What's your favorite? Which one would you like to see produced the most? And he said, does everyone here know who's asking the question? And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. So he he says, "This is Paul Taylor, your new Pinhead," and he had me stand up and read it. It was so nice. It was kind of like a passing of the torch. It was just lovely. He didn't have to do that, and it was really so cool of him. So then the rest of the weekend, we were just, we hung out. I hung out with them, and I got to meet Clive Barker, and it was really thrilling. But to actually play the role, to inherit the role, was it was a daunting task. It was surreal. It was the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. There I am. I got a new costume design, as you can see, and to be turned into that monster, that classic Hollywood monster, by makeup professionals, it was a dream come true. I've always been a huge horror fan, and when I was a kid, I wasn't into horror because I was very sheltered. But Halloween was, oh my God, was always my favorite day, favorite week, favorite month. October was always my favorite month because of Halloween. Love it so much, and I would. Once I saw my first horror film, I had a Halloween party that same year. That's when I did this really weird thing. I had my mom's pantyhose pulled over my face, and I had a hunchback, and so weird. It became where, and I did this repeatedly year after year after that. I had to be scary, grotesque, and unrecognizable. And then here I am, 30, 40, 50 years later, being turned into this monster who I've loved since 87. Just 1987. That's what I mean. It was crazy. It was wild. And I did at one point, because Gary and I had a discussion about making it my own. And also it's a different period in Pinhead's life, or existence, if it's whatever, his presence in the world. He's older, he's more dated, he's, disappointed with how things have turned out. And he's just kind of, sitting on his throne, listening to screams of pain and enjoying it. But at the same time, it's like, wow, what are we going to do? So that alone, the script alone kind of helped. But getting to the place where I was a god, at least, I mean, Pinhead has great arrogance. And in a way, he is a god. Well, demons to some, gods to others, angels to others, but whatever. So, yeah, gods, demons, angels, they're all related. So it was just, it was wild.
It's such a beautiful thing with the torch, too. It really is. Like, you did a fantastic job.
I know. He didn't have to do that. And the whole weekend, he was just lovely to me.
No, I just mean in general, of like you taking over, like it should be. You did such a beautiful job. Like the passing of the torch really works. Like you fit that role.
Thank you. I'm lucky that I did. There have been others, not only as Pinhead, but also as other classic, especially 80s horror icons, who fans completely reject, and I'm sad for them. Maybe I'm not quite as sad for the guy who did Revelations, because if he'd been really good, then, I didn't say that. If he'd been accepted with open arms by more fans, perhaps he would have also done Judgement, and I wouldn't have. But, and I don't know what's going to happen next. If that's one of your questions, I have no idea what's happening with me as Pinhead. I have no idea.
Did you meet Jay Gillespie?
Who's Jay Gillespie?
It says here he played Pinhead in Revelations, and so did Stephen Smith Collins.
Yeah, Jay Gillespie did the voice. Stephen Smith Collins was the face of Pinhead. So, yeah.
Well, one thing I want to ask about.
Go ahead.
I'll ask too. You were in one of my favorite indie films, superhero indie films.
I knew you were going to say Super. Isn't that a cool movie?
I love that movie so much, and it stands out in so many fantastic ways. And you did such a great job in it.
I love my role. It's so quick. I have one line, and it's like, oh my god, it's hilarious. I went to that. I got to meet James Gunn in the audition room at the callbacks, and I wore these weird eye distorting glasses. Just like because it's not Mike Judge. Now I'm confusing my people completely. Mike Judge is a completely different thing. He's the director where almost all the characters have glasses, and it really, it's great. So never mind. Forget I even brought that in because I once got a callback for Office. No, I had a callback for Idiocracy, and God, I wanted that part so bad. I didn't get it. So, anyway, but yeah. I wore these weird glasses, and I just had real high-waisted pants and this short-sleeved, gross, maybe plaid shirt, and had my hair slicked back. I mean, I was basically I looked like a child molester, except, well, in a way, I was a child molester, except it was not a molestation; it was just abuse. But some religious fanatic, crazy person spanking baby Rainn Wilson. I loved it.
You know what? He's the catalyst, for what becomes. So
that and getting pissed on by the kids in school, and also I got to sit next to Liv Tyler in the makeup trailer. It's just like, oh my God, she's flawless. She's truly flawless, and I got to meet Rainn Wilson, so that was cool too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was so funny. They put a book. I think that kid had a lot of padding, so I could really go to town on his butt. That sounds so dirty. I went to town on that kid's ass.
You're also, so now you told us you were in Reagan, and you were in another fairly huge presidential movie, W.
Well, there's a story. I get residual checks. Let's just say I do get residual checks for that. I got cast as a religious figure. I think the character had a real name. I'm not sure if he did or not, but he's having a meeting with with W at some point, and they're discussing what W's going to do, and I don't remember what happens in the scene. So I have this scene. I go and I go for a rehearsal. I drove to Shreveport because that's where it's shot. I'd already met Oliver Stone, but I got to meet the other stars of the movie and stuff. I mean, it's crazy. Elizabeth Banks and Brolin, and anyway. So we have my rehearsal, but I'm in rehearsals. I mean, I'm in rehearsals I have a dress rehearsal for, I think we were doing Bent. I'm not sure which one. I was doing a play in Dallas. So we had dress rehearsal that night in Dallas, and I had been assured that I would be able to get back to Dallas. But so I was a little antsy about it, not realizing that, look, Oliver Stone is here. I think that you'll be fine if you just are late to dress rehearsal or don't even make it to dress rehearsal. You need to be here for this. He wants you here. You need to be here. So I'm a little antsy, and I mean, it was taking forever because it was taking people, it was like their first day to arrive in Shreveport, and oh, I love you. I haven't seen you in forever, blah, 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 all this, blah, 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 chatty. And I'm just sitting at the table, just waiting can we just read the scene so I can go? And the first AD or whoever was in charge at one point said, well, you can leave if you want to. And I'm like, and the way he said it, I'm not going to leave. So I stayed for the rehearsal, but I don't know. I was nervous. I needed to leave. These big stars were at the table with me. It was a big deal. So I got back to Dallas. I was late to anyway. A couple weeks later, my agent calls me and says, well, Paul, they gave you a different role. I'm like, okay. So they gave me the role of reporter number 4. Now, this was fantastic because in this scene, W is talking about the educational system. And I don't remember exactly what he's saying, but at the end of the line, it's something like, or don't want to just suckle them on through. And my character, it's only one line. My reporter, we're at a press conference, and I turn to another reporter and I go, "Did he just say suckle?" And I'm like, I just got a great line. I just got a fucking hilarious line. Maybe it was just, did he say suckle? Anyway, it was the word suckle. It was funny. So I get there on the day of the shoot. It's changed. There's no longer it's no longer a press conference. Now it's the Bushes are coming from this big white building where they just had a meeting. Now they're walking to their car. They are ambushed by reporters. I'm one of the reporters. There are 3 reporters now with lines, and they're all just like swarming around him and shouting their lines out and stuff. And they're like, "Paul, we don't need to be the reporter. You go stand over there with well-wisher number 1. Now you'll be well-wisher number 2. I didn't have any lines. So this is this is Hollywood though. This is the way, this is the way it is. It's like, oh, well, what are you going to do? Oliver, it was hot that day. Mr. Stone was very sweaty. He was probably in a bad mood because, he likes to, he wasn't comfortable. So anyway, the best part was sitting inside that air conditioned building with Elizabeth Banks, and I think Josh Brolin was there, and listening to Elizabeth Banks talk about how hard it was now to exist because she was so famous, and she had to like, oh, I felt so sorry for her. Oh, just felt, my heart just broke. Anyway. So when you see me in W, I only do movies about Republican presidents. No comment.
So you're going to be in the Trump biopic? Is that what you're saying?
I hope so. Well, I hope so. No, it's funny because the same thing. This is what's funny. The same kind of thing happened with Reagan. It's hilarious. I'm not supposed to say great lines in movies about Republican presidents. I'm pretty sure that, and I'm not saying I'm however I am, but you can probably take a guess and you might be right. But I'm like, I think all good lines are supposed to just be taken away from me in any movie that's about a president. Actually, I could just say about a president because those are the only 2 I've ever done that were about presidents. But sorry, I kind of went off on that. But it's a funny story. I still get the residual checks. But if you watch W and you're looking for me, all you'll see is you don't even see the well-wisher. They cut the well-wishers lines, so he didn't get a close-up. There's not even a shot of them coming out the door of the building. It's them walking away from the building, and it's just, you see me turning around. You see my little, I think a little bald spot. You see me turning around and shutting the door. That's all you see. And yet, I was a day player, SAG contract, hotel, all that stuff. It was just like, okay, I'll take it.
That's all.
And the line that was taken away from me in Reagan was, Today, Mr. Reagan, we're all Republicans," which is a famous line that actually was said by the thoracic surgeon who was just about to remove the bullet from Reagan's body. But I think the director was confused because we all had surgical masks on, and it was Dr. Benjamin Aaron's line. That's what I was playing, okay? So I had 2 scenes. I had just a couple lines in each one. Well, just one when I was wearing a mask, and that was what the line was, which is a classic line and a great line. It would have been so good for my reel, because it would have been a close-up with Dennis Quaid. And so we get in there. Unfortunately, I was wearing a mask because this is the same director who had COVID 2 days later. So he points to another surgeon who looks pretty much like me, and no, he just kind of goes, "Okay, so Dennis, you say your line," and Dennis said the line. I'm not sure he ever said the line as written, but he said the line, and I'm sorry, I don't care. I'm telling that school, I don't give a shit. So so he said the line, and so then he goes, and y'all say, I think he said y'all, and y'all say, today, Mr. President, we're all and this other doctor says, today, Mr. President, we're all Republicans. And I'm like, and so I say it, today, Mr. President, we're all Republicans. And the doctor goes, no, he says that. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, because in that case, I'm confused by the script. And he pulls out his script and he goes, oh, yeah, some changes were made. I'm just like, okay. I didn't raise a stink. I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy. But you took my great line away. But later I was okay with it because I'm like, me saying that line, it's not right. That's all. That's what I'm going to say. It's just not right. So I'm not a big fan of Ronald Reagan's. So
That's how it works.
for reasons.
You are a fan of demigods in hell that feed on pleasure and
Yes.
not Ronald Reagan, and I think we can all be okay with that.
Pinhead for president. Yeah, totally. Demigods.
Oh,
All right, I
you-
went off on that. No, I've never. You guys are the first to hear all that stuff.
That is awesome. I did enjoy your performance, and you can tell there's a respect for that character, like, and especially just in this interview, you can see there's a respect for that character, but in the performance for sure.
Thank you. I had a great. You are speaking of Pinhead, right? Not my performance in W. Great back of the head work. Gary was very good at directing me in that. I already had an instinct for it, and I'd had several weeks or maybe even a couple months to work on it. So I knew what I was doing. But when I was out in LA getting my head cast done so they could do the makeup, Gary showed me a scene from Star Wars. And it was a scene with Moff Tarkin, which is Peter Cushing. And it's a scene with, of course, Princess Leia. It's a scene that ends up with him destroying one of the two planets, and one of them is her home.
Alderaan.
Yeah, Alderaan.
Yeah.
That movie came out in 1977. I was working at the movie theater. I saw Star Wars so many times. I was so lucky. Oh my God. I saw it so many times, the first Star Wars. So, she reaches forward and she goes, no. And Peter Cush and Moff says, Moff, I like to call him Moff. He says, they're far too trusting, as he's walking away. And Gary just goes, there's your Pinhead right there. That was it. So we had this shorthand. If I was making anything too big, not that it's kind of hard to make things too big with that much makeup on, but at the same time, it works the other way, that if you have that much makeup on, anything you move is going to be seen. It's kind of it was helpful for me to be subtle, but I still had to be more subtle, if that makes sense. But so we had this shorthand. If things were too big, if I was too Shakespearean or whatever, he would say, he'd come up to me and just throw it away. We're going to do it again. Just throw it away. And right before he'd say, action, I would just say to myself, you're far too trusting. Action. Blah, blah, blah. I can't remember a single Pinhead line right now, but it was, I was well directed. It's probably it is maybe the most subtle film acting we've ever done. I don't know, but it's a challenge because I started out a real, musical theater guy, make them laugh, completely different thing. So I want more than anything in my life to be a really good film actor and an excellent film actor and I know that I have a lot to learn about it. I have a lot to learn about the business, and I have a lot to learn about the actual skill and technique of acting for a camera, because it is it's the same in a way because there has to be truth, and but other than that, it's like, yeah, but it's the focus is, your audience is this big. and you're this big, as opposed to on stage where the audience is this big and you're this big. It's a
hell of a curve, right?
It's a curve, and I'm part of me is kind of. It's nice to be this excited about it at this stage in my life. Although it would be nice to just already be a very accomplished, established film actor as well, with lots of big roles and a big name. But that'll either come or it won't. All I can do is just keep doing it and focus on getting bigger, better, just better roles. They don't necessarily have to be bigger. They just. But
at the end of the day, I mean, not many actors, it doesn't matter how big they are, can say they played an icon. And he is an icon.
Isn't it wild? When I first got the role, before we'd even shot it, one of my theater friends who I'd met in 86 or something when I first moved to Dallas and was doing the Rocky Horror Show, I was in the chorus getting my equity week so I could join the stage union, Actors Equity Association. Well, Kurt Rhodes was playing Frankenfurter, and he was already an established actor in the Dallas-Fort Worth theater community. Anyway, he's lived in New York for years now. I didn't need to tell you all that at all. You don't need any of those details. Anyway, I could just say an old theater friend of mine texted me, and he simply said, "Congratulations on your instant cult status." And my brain just went, it was like, whoa, no pressure. And then the first night I arrived in Oklahoma, I was in the hotel. I was supposed to start shooting the next day. I Google, I don't know, something popped up and it was a news story because, the fact that the movie was, the Hellraiser movie was being kept a secret. So Heather Langenkamp, who, had a cameo in that, horror royalty, she had just let it slip. Maybe she didn't know it was a secret. I don't know. She said, "I'm in the next Hellraiser movie." So suddenly, the day before I start shooting, the fans are online going, "What the fuck? Who's playing? Doug Bradley's not in this. Who's playing Pinhead? Blah, blah, blah." I was like, oh no. I haven't even started. And I thought it was okay with it all. And then I just had to be okay because, what was I going to do? I'd done a lot of prep work. It's not like I wasn't going to freak out, but it's like, nice timing. Thanks for that. Oh, well.
Yeah.
It all worked out.
Remember, they hated Michael Keaton as Batman.
He's the best one. Sorry.
And
Batman.
My opinion, he's the best one.
They hated Heath Ledger as Joker.
Well, I love Heath Ledger's Joker, but Jack Nicholson, so great. I don't love the quiet 20 minutes or whatever, the no dialogue of the script of Batman. The last 15, 20 minutes of it, I'm like, can somebody say something? I want some people to speak. It was just weird. It was just weird to me. But maybe this Batman Returns. Wait, that was Batman. I recently watched both of them. I recently got them both on Blu-ray because I'm like, why don't I have these on Blu-ray? So I just recently watched them 2 in a row. And I have some opinions. I do have some opinions about. I don't really like Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Oh my god! But he was brilliant.
It's an acquired taste, Danny DeVito.
I wanted some levels. We didn't get levels. I just through the whole movie it was like.
We got a weird penguin army. That's what we got.
Take it down just for one scene. Anyway, whatever. He's playing an insane person. So, talk about child abuse. Yeah, he was acting out. But the design, I love him in the first half of it, and then the last, I'm just like, oh God, somebody kill him. And then someone did. So
let me just kind of going off Pinhead, since that is your iconic character. If you could choose to take him anywhere, where would you take him next?
I would actually, I would do a direct sequel to Judgment. I think that would be so cool. And a lot of people don't know this, but there was another scene written for Joe Fiel in Judgment. You know, the angel. She's back for the last scene of the movie. She is in red. They even filmed it. She's in red robes, and she's being indoctrinated into a very high position in the Catholic Church. So she's in on it. And I think she was in that position so that there could be a battle, a battle royale of some sort. And there has to be a Pinhead. So maybe she becomes Pinhead. But as far as my character's story, I mean, this is only if the Scarlet Gospels wasn't turned into a film. That would be like, even with Doug Bradley as Pinhead, I'd be on board with that as long as they gave me a role as well. I'd even be on board for a Hellraiser remake with Doug Bradley as Pinhead, as long as I got to play the guy who eats the bugs. What the derelict.
Well, maybe they'll turn Pinhead into a Republican, and you will definitely be cast in that film.
You know what I want Pinhead's story to be in a direct sequel to Judgment. I want it to start out that he's no longer poor. He's not a homeless person. He's been on Earth for a while, but he's taken all of his knowledge. He knows a lot now. He still likes pain. He's either in politics. I haven't decided. He's either in politics, or he has a really serious S&M club, that kind of thing. But whatever he's doing as his profession, he is doing everything he can to get back in that position as the Hell Priest. So he's searching for a puzzle box. He's searching, and it's his search to find to regain, to earn that position. And he's been knocked down a few pegs, so he's not arrogant anymore. He just wants it so badly because I don't know. Wanting to be a god, I don't know if that's arrogance. I think it's just, natural. It's a lot of humans have wanted to be gods. So anyway, I think it'd be really cool. And maybe Joe Fiel actually, maybe there's a female a Pinhead for a little while, but then there's this battle at the end and between Pinheads. Battle between two Pinheads. Wouldn't that be cool?
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen when the Weinsteins lost everything, including the franchise. All those things that have been said to me on set about my future in the franchise kind of went bye-bye, along with Gary Tunnicliffe's future with the franchise. It was just like, we don't know who's going to be in charge next. We just know that we don't have personal relationships with them. So, but I understand now that Clive Barker owns the franchise. So, and I hear rumors that there's going to be a TV series, and I don't know. I have no idea. Until I get a phone call or an email or I'm on a set somewhere, I'll believe it. I'll believe it then. But until then,
I would love to see Pinhead or Freddy or Jason get the television treatment. I'd like to see one of those stories play out over 8 to 10 episodes. It
really could. I mean, I bet it'll happen. Amazon, for God's sake, or maybe Marvel. Marvel should own it. They can shoot it in Atlanta.
We're getting a Chucky TV series, so anything's possible. And I know that's filming.
Brad Dourif is doing the voice, right?
Mm-hmm. My cousin dates Alex Vincent, if you've ever met him, who played Andy.
I met him at a convention a couple years ago, yeah.
And he's actively involved in it too.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love Chucky. I've always loved Chucky. They need Tiffany too. They need Tiffany. Hello?
Yeah, they're all back for the TV show. It's a continuation.
Nice.
And what about what's their child's name that did
The weird looking one.
weird little Glenn or Glenda? It was Glenn. That was so bizarre. Seed of Chucky was something. It was something. But I love Bride of Chucky so much.
I do too. It's
my
got one
God.
of the best horror lines or best lines in the movie where he says, "I'm all rubber, baby." I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a high end Chucky and Tiffany. They're like, I don't know, they're 2 feet tall, maybe. Because with glass eyes and all that stuff, I love it. I love them so much. And I think they both talk. Yeah, they both talk.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I had a the Spencer's Tiffany that was like so tall, but I sold her at one point. I don't know. I was disappointed.
That's
So,
awesome.
Paul, where can everybody find you online?
On Instagram, I'm the real Paul T. Taylor. Because everybody wants to be me, so of course I had to do that. I'm at the real. I'm kidding, of course. At the real Paul T. Taylor. I have a Facebook fan page, which is Paul T. Taylor. You can also just find me on Facebook as Paul Taylor, but that's my regular personal page. A lot of people go there anyway. I'm like, oh, whatever. So Twitter, I don't really even do. I don't remember who I am on Twitter. I might be. I don't know. So yeah, I'm mostly. And my website where you can buy autographed photos and stuff, but you can go to my website, which is paulttaylor.com.
Sweet.
Okay. I'm going to jump on there and check out the autographs for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's a pleasure.
Huh?
It was such a pleasure talking to you.
You too, you guys. This has been fun. I like the whole podcast idea that you just like. It doesn't matter what you talk about, just talk.
Yeah.
When stuff comes out, you just go like, "Well, this is just me. It's who I am." When I'm a little bit elevated, only because there's a camera. But you know what I really miss though is faces. Don't you guys miss faces? God, I miss people's smiles in public. Nobody can smile at anybody else.
It's all hidden now. Yeah, it's
Oh,
crazy.
this is so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait
It's
for
staring
it.
when you stare at somebody to see if it's really the person you think it is because they have a mask on. Those are fun.
Yeah, it's so creepy. And at the same time, I mean, I always thought that I am kind of a loner and I kind of do hate a lot of people, but this much loneliness is, I don't know why I keep touching my nose. It's not running or anything. I don't know why I keep doing that.
That's awesome.
Anyway, it's a little itchy. Oh, it's cocaine. Let's go. It's a great big line before we started talking. Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to put all the links to your stuff in the description below. Everybody, please check out Paul. Paul, thank you so much for getting back to me. I've been waiting for this interview. I love talking to people. And so thank you for the time. And everybody else, have a great night.
And that's our show, everybody. Thanks for listening. I am Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. We always appreciate you guys tuning in and commenting along and everything else. Go check out this show or any of our other shows on thescenesnobs.com. Thescenesnobs.com. We love you. You guys are awesome. And if you would like, follow and subscribe to our social media. That really helps us go a long way. And please spread the word. Tell your friends. Have them come in. We love feedback and everything else. So everybody, You have a great day. Again, thanks for listening. TheSceneSnobs.com. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.